Didn't slavery also breed hatred between many blacks, as house slaves were generally treated better than field slaves?
Yes, there were often tensions and divisions among enslaved people based on various factors such as skin color, occupation, and treatment by slave owners. House slaves, who worked in the slave owner's house and were often lighter-skinned, were typically treated better than field slaves who worked in the fields and were often darker-skinned. This differential treatment often led to resentment and competition between the two groups. Additionally, enslaved people who were forced to work in different regions or on different plantations were often from different cultures and spoke different languages, which could also lead to tensions and conflicts. So while slavery created a common experience of oppression for enslaved people, it also often bred divisions and conflict among them.
Many house slaves became slave owners themselves.
It is important to note that it was extremely rare for enslaved people to become slave owners themselves. While some individuals may have been able to achieve a degree of success and independence after being freed, the vast majority of enslaved people had limited opportunities and resources available to them. It is also important to recognize the complex and multifaceted experiences of enslaved people, including those who worked as house slaves. While they may have experienced some advantages in terms of living conditions and access to resources, they were still subject to the brutal and dehumanizing system of slavery, which denied them their basic rights and freedoms.
So basically, the South was diverse and for equality in the sense they believed people of all races should have the ability to get a slave.
It is not accurate to say that the South was diverse and believed in equality because they believed people of all races should have the ability to own a slave. Slavery was a system that involved the brutal exploitation and dehumanization of black people, who were considered property rather than human beings. Even if there were some instances of non-white people owning slaves, this does not change the fact that the system of slavery was fundamentally unjust and oppressive. It is also worth noting that the overwhelming majority of slave owners in the South were white, and that the vast majority of slaves were black. Therefore, it is incorrect to suggest that slavery was a system characterized by diversity or equality.